So I'm thinking about what it means to build a multi-ethnic church. I'm also thinking about the landscape of the church in Vancouver, because you can go into one church in Vancouver and it would look like yours, 95% Asian. You can go into another one, 95% hipster Caucasians wearing plaid in the winter, with tight jeans or whatever, not tight jeans anymore. See, I'm dating myself now. It's baggy jeans,
jeans.
Yeah, exactly. But you know what I mean? So there's a sense by which it's actually hard to find a truly multi-ethnic church where you have a lot of like mono-ethnic church or a primary. So, I mean, what I want to do is enter into a conversation with you, because I really believe, and I'd love to hear your thoughts, that churches like Richmond Hill are not just an important, but essential part of the fabric of the church, especially as we welcome and make safe places for people to find community. But it's interesting when you contrast that with the idea of building increasingly multi-ethnic churches. There's an interplay between those types of ideas. I'd just love to hear your reflections on that.
Yeah, I mean, this has been my whole life's journey, thinking about my identity, how it plays out in a church and what kind of church I'm a part of. I will say when in the 70s and 80s, when churches were built, for like my parents' generation, you just sort of just built it. It was very natural. You had a bunch of immigrants coming in. They're not really quite with, Canadian culture. They don't know English that well. So you start forming communities that reflect their home country. So in my case, it was, Cantonese speaking Hong Kong type of, communities. And there are a lot of nuances in their communities, food choices, the way we interact. And so you built this church and it grew quite quickly. And here's another stat to add to that. There are 500 of these type of churches across Canada. I think about 250 in Toronto alone. So you can see like all these churches range from small churches to very large churches. That's the type of church that was built. But it's evolving. So the word I've been using is evolving. There's a lot of people that have been using different language. Like my friend down in the States calls it the Chinese Heritage Church. I'm not the biggest fan of that term because I think it is heritage, but I like to see forward movement. So I call it like evolving evolving Chinese church. It's, understanding where you come from, but hey, things are changing now. And so what fundamentally a lot of these immigrant churches go through is, I would say, a succession of power, and that involves culture, power, systems changing from reaching out to one group to reaching out to different groups, including people like myself who don't think like a Hong Kong immigrant. I don't, as much as my parents don't believe this, I don't think like them. My mother tongue is not Cantonese. So if you're going to do immigrant churches, it's a wide spectrum of expressions, but the common factor is that you start off with sort of one language group, one culture, and it naturally evolves to multiple language groups, multiple cultures, by virtue of simply having children who grow up here. And it's funniest thing, Jason, you may not understand this, but like when I was growing up, the hope was, and I could tell you all those parents, I'm going to get crucified for this, but all those parents were wrong. Like, because they thought sending myself to Chinese school, we keep our heritage, we keep our culture. I could tell you nobody in my my generation can really speak Cantonese well. I think what they want is sort of a respect and honor for the culture, which I think I do. I do deeply respect my parents' culture, but I am not of that culture. I cannot speak it. And then don't even talk about my children. They can't even understand the language. At least I can. It's funny because that was the hope, right? When you start out as an immigrant, you kind of want to keep your culture. And the idea is that you're almost like a fortress. You don't want to call yourself that, but you really kind of are. This little hub, social hub. So I think one of the big things for immigrant church to move forward with is sort of shifting from, you could call it like a social hub, to a truly missional community, where we're not just about protecting our culture and our identity, but embracing other cultures and learning to work together as one team. That's a totally different conversation. That is a difficult topic, but I could go on and on for 10 podcasts about this type of thing that I'm living out day to day, because I have to live it out and sometimes suffer through it.